when the denominators are the same, we just have to add the numerators. So this is equal to 7 plus 3 over b, or 10 divided by b. In this next problem, our first step is to factor both of the denominators. The 4 is equal to 2 times 2, and the 6 is equal to 2 times 3. So the 6 down here is 2 times 3. Now we're wondering what this equals, but we can't just subtract those because the denominators are different. The first denominator has 2 2's but no 3. So what we need to do is to give this denominator whatever factor it's missing, in this case a 3. So it has a 3 like this one does. And we have to put a 3 upstairs so we don't change the value of the fraction. 3 divided by 3 is just 1. We're really just multiplying times 1. This fraction has 1 2, but it needs 2 2's to have what the other denominator has. So we give it another 2, and we have to put it upstairs also. Now what we have is a common denominator of 2 times 2 times 3. Leave it factored still. In the numerator we have 3 times 3, which is 9, minus 5 times 2, which is 10. So that this problem ends up equaling 9 minus 10 equals negative 1. 2 times 2 times 3 is the same as 4 times 3, that's 12. And negative 1 divided by 12 is the same thing as negative 1/12. So that is the answer for this fraction subtraction problem. In problem 36, we also have that problem that the first denominator doesn't have an a, it's lacking an a, so we give it an a. The second denominator doesn't have a b, so we give it a b. Upstairs and downstairs, numerator and denominator. Now the two denominators are the same thing, a times b, which is the same as b times a. So the common denominator is a times b. And in the numerator we have 4a minus 7 b's. And we're done. We can't factor the numerator. We can't cancel anything. Some students like to try to cancel these a's or these b's, but they don't cancel because a is not a factor in the numerator. To be a factor in the numerator, the whole numerator would have to be a times something, and it isn't. In this number 38, we first need to find a common denominator. So we first have to factor the denominators. 14 is 2 times 7. Well, 21 is 3 times 7. You can see that the first denominator is lacking a 3 to get the least common multiple of all of the denominators. And we have to put a 3 on top, so we don't change the value of the fraction. Now we have a 2 and a 7 and a 3. We have the 3 and the 7. This one doesn't have a 2 though, so we have to give this one a 2 to get the LCM, upstairs and downstairs. Now the denominator is the same, so best to leave it factored still as 2 times 7 times 3. And in the numerator you have 3 times 3, which is 9, plus 5 times 2 is 10. So we end up with 19 divided by, now none of these factors divides into 19, so we can just multiply them out. 2 times 7, well let's say 7 times 3 is 21, 2 times 21 is 42. So that's how number 38 works out. Now for number 40. 5/12 minus 3/9. Our first step is to factor the denominators. So this is 5 divided by 12 is 2 times 2 times 4. I mean 2 times 2 times 3, 4 times 3 is 12. This denominator is just 3 times 3. So you can see that the first denominator is short a 3. This has 2 3's, this only has 1. So we need to give this one an extra 3 here and up here. And this denominator is missing a couple of 2's, so we have to give it 2 times 2, or 4. Now we have a common denominator, which let's write this as 2 squared times 3 squared, just in case anything cancels out. Upstairs we have 5 times 3 is 15 minus 3 times 2 times 2 is 3 times 4 is 12. So that in turn, let's go up here. 15 minus 12 is 3, so that's 3 divided by 2 squared times 3 squared. And then notice one of those 3's cancels out. This 3 cancels with one of those 2 3's, so we're finally left with 1 divided by 2 squared is 4 times 3 is 12. So my final answer for this one is 1/12. 1 divided by 12. Finally, problem 42. It's a little easier when there's no numbers involved, there's no factoring. They're already essentially factored. So this one needs an A, this one needs a B, then we have a common denominator and we're almost done. The common denominator is A times B, same as B times A, and in the numerator we have 3A minus 2B. And that's what we get.